I'm continuing my discussion of a tale of three trials. Now, in the previous segment, I discussed why the media is concealing the truth about the Charlottesville trial. I want to talk in this segment about the Rittenhouse trial, but let me kind of complete my thought. The third trial is the trial that hasn't occurred. And that is a trial of a January 6th defendant who goes to trial and uses the trial to expose the involvement of the FBI, to expose the bad conduct of the government, to expose the abuses that are going on in the jail, that puts, in a sense, the system itself on trial. That has not occurred. Why? Because so far, January 6 defendants have taken a plea. When you take a plea, essentially you forfeit the right to a trial. You give it up. You put yourself at the mercy of the judge. And I understand why people are doing that, but we need a trial. We need someone, ideally someone nonviolent, someone just accused of parading in the Capitol. Big deal. Go to court, fight it out, and put the system on trial. Make sure you have some good lawyers. And I know one or two that I'm going to talk to about this. Now, let me turn to Kyle Rittenhouse and make some comments based upon the latest developments. First of all, Kyle Rittenhouse's mom appeared on Fox News. And I was kind of looking at her and I realized, wow, this is a woman who's obviously working class, you could say lower middle class. And I thought to myself, these are really Kyle Rittenhouse's three sins, three offenses, his real crimes, as far as the left is concerned. One, he's white. Two, he's lower middle class. And three, he killed a couple of Antifa criminal perverts and sickos who are the darlings of the left. Now, had Kyle Rittenhouse been black, college student, son of two Washington, D.C. progressive bureaucrats, and he killed, let's say, two Proud Boys, Kyle Rittenhouse would be a national hero. They'd be building statues to him, around the country right now. Biden would be giving a speech about him and about the rising tide of white supremacy. So this is a charade. Now, the penultimate witness was a guy who's actually appeared on this podcast, Drew Hernandez. You might remember him from one of my earlier podcasts. He's a videographer. He was on the scene, and I think he was a critical witness. The prosecution, by the way, tried to get him. They tried to show his bias, and it didn't really go all that well. Here's a clip from that segment of the trial. Listen.
Your videos that you have captured of these incidents that you call riots, they're very slanted against the people who are rioting. You characterize them as Antifa, Black Lives Matter rioters, correct?
Because they are rioting in the footage, yes, absolutely.
You're a little biased against the rioters, are you? Why do you call them rioters? Because they're rioting. This is the voice of common sense, literally destroying this freak of a prosecutor. And it's kind of glorious to watch. Now, the importance of the testimony itself was this. Kyle Rittenhouse, in order to get off, has got to show that he was in a sense, reasonable fear of not just being killed, but of being killed or serious bodily harm. That there was a dangerous atmosphere going on when all this went down. And Drew Hernandez was there to say, oh, yeah, I felt the fear. I was there, and I was a direct observer of what was happening to was the conduct of Rosenbaum, and the fact that Rosenbaum was going up to people who were armed and saying, basically taunting them, pushing them, shoot me right here. So this is a guy who was asking for trouble. That's the point. And not only was Drew Hernandez saying this, but he had video evidence to back it up. And this is what I think was absolutely crushing to the prosecution. So they have, in a sense, blown up their own case. And even the little details of the case, to me, have been kind of eye-opening. At one point, Kyle Rittenhouse offhandedly said that his dad lives in Kenosha. And apparently he has some other relatives who live there too. And it caught my eye because I thought, wait a minute, for a whole year straight, I've been reading leftists say something to the effect of, What's this guy even doing in Kenosha? He's got nothing to do with Kenosha. He came in from out of state looking for trouble, as if Kyle Rittenhouse was some sort of, well, the prosecution called him in the pretrial a tourist who had no business in Kenosha. Well, Kyle lives across the border in Illinois, but his dad lives in Kenosha, so he has a lot to do with Kenosha. He has a reasonable cause to want to protect his own community in which his own parent lives. So another example of how, again, just almost incidentally, a big leftist lie is sort of destroyed. Now, I hear from Reuters that the prosecution, knowing that it's in a bad way, is thinking of lessening the charges, of giving the jury the option of not going for first-degree murder, which is the charge, by the way, in both the two killings, but going for maybe second degree, maybe even just reckless endangerment of life. And the prosecution is hoping that somehow this would, and the jury would be like, well, yeah, okay, we'll give you that one. No, I don't think that there is second degree. A second degree is essentially a crime of passion, as if Kyle Rittenhouse just got suddenly worked up and killed these people. No, that's not the case at all. There is a clearly defined second degree, and he didn't do it. Nor do I believe did he recklessly endanger life. He did endanger life, but it was not reckless at all. What I expect to happen next is for the left to start attacking the judge. They've already started that, and I'll pick up on that probably on Monday. And then to start attacking the jury, because they have to save their narrative. They're dug in. They've dug this pit for themselves, and they can't get out of it. They can't admit that they've been lying for a year, any more than they can get out of the Russia collusion narrative or any of their other false narratives. These people are like the toy soldier who walks into the wall, and they just have to keep going. There's nowhere else for them to go. Their lying is now part of their MO. And the beauty of the Rittenhouse case is that it blows up the lies. This is why the January 6th case needs to go to court. We need to blow up their lies. And because the media is kind of coordinated in its prevarication, in its misrepresentations, you have to prove the lie. It's not enough to say they're lying. It's not enough to imply it. It's not even enough for it to be probable. We have to bust them on it. And then there's no place for them to go.